It is Friday, July 9th, and I am off for today, using up some vacation time. You can see we got Lori back there doing some watering on the sorghum, so wanted to talk a little bit about that here this morning, because that is one of the projects we're going to try to get done this weekend, and that's actually cutting this back. Now, we've had extremely hot temperatures again, so if you guys know, we've got extreme heat warnings pretty much across the entire West this week and into this weekend, so we don't plan on doing a lot of work outside. It's always best to just stay inside and not take a chance with dehydration, that kind of thing, but we do want to take care of the sorghum because it being as tall as it is and 115 plus, it's really starting to struggle a little bit, and we need to cut it back. Not sure whether or not you're going to pick it up on camera, but we have some area right over there. There we go, right in that area. Remember, this was the old pig pen. That was a part of the ground that was extremely hard. I had a hard time getting the tiller down in, maybe got an inch or so into the ground, and the taller it gets, the more it struggles when it's really hot. So we definitely want to cut this back, and I took some suggestions from you guys and got something that I think is going to help out a lot. But Lori's going to go ahead and water it in again this morning to make sure that it's going to survive okay for today. But I think cutting that down and not having the long, tall blades of grass here in the extreme heat should help us out. Behind me here we have our Thompson grapevines. Now, these have a tendency when it gets really hot like it is now to really start putting on a tremendous amount of growth, and they're definitely not disappointing. These particular trees are actually grafted varieties that Reed brought in for us, and they're on, I believe it was a Freedom rootstock, and none of us knew how well that was going to do. They sent the wrong rootstock, but it seems like they're doing really well, which I would expect from Thompson grapes. And we're starting to see that we're able to start putting some of the vines onto the different trellising systems. So we have a traditional vineyard trellising system with these, so a 3-foot wire and a 6-foot wire. And all of these vines are up to the 6-foot wire, and they're starting to send out runners that are going along the trellising. Now, these are the first year that these are in the ground, so the goal right now is to establish a strong, healthy trunk. So essentially what I'm trying to do is find the strongest, essentially vine, and basically run that all the way up to the 6-foot level so that it continue to just pump energy up into there and continue to get a much stronger trunk, which is still a vine, but a much stronger trunk that we're going to cut back to this winter. But I wanted to give you guys a quick shot of how well these are doing and how much they're growing onto this trellising. If you're watching yesterday's episode, the how-to of the week was how to install drip tape, and you can see the cowpeas here in our spring beds, and they're doing really, really well. This is the first time we've used drip tape, so we're still learning this. And you know, when you're watering beds like this, you really have to kind of keep an eye on the bed, adjust the irrigation as needed. We started out watering them twice a day for 30 minutes and found that we had water at the base of each one of the beds, so it was too much. We backed that off to 20 minutes twice a day, and right now it looks like they're doing pretty good. Even with 110 plus degrees, they're doing well. The beds that we have, just the sweet potatoes, we have new slips that we planted. We're gonna take a peek at those. The new slips are struggling just a little bit, but I think they're gonna be okay. It's amazing to see how you can plant these things. You know, I'm planting them in the evening, It's 110 plus degrees putting them in the ground, and they're doing fine just on the drip irrigation. We actually have one that we planted about a month ago. It's finally starting to take off. That's exciting to see. That is actually a purple sweet potato that we planted, and it's doing well. Got sweet potatoes in with the cowpeas also that are starting to come on really strong, which is good to see also, because these things still have a few months to grow before we're gonna even harvest. So I figured I would go ahead and wrap up the original test patch behind the pigs. So if you guys followed along, you know that we installed a test patch behind the first area that we had the pigs in, and we were testing out some crops that we were hoping would be summer cover crops, and the only one that survived was the sorghum. So learned a couple things. Obviously, number one, we knew that the fence was not going to last very long, and clearly it didn't. It was easy to pull up. Second thing is, a lot of the cover crops for the fall definitely don't work in the spring here. So buckwheat definitely did not work. Alfalfa did not work. The cowpeas that we put in here were actually okay. And the problem there, of course, is the quail, which, you know, is very hard to combat. The cowpeas are doing fine elsewhere as long as we have some protection around them, especially when they're first coming up. Otherwise, the quail just decimate those. But the sorghum survives pretty good. In fact, we've had this fencing here that's basically been down for the last several weeks. Rabbits are clearly easily able to get in. They do munch on the sorghum just a little bit, but it's strong enough and big enough, it's actually surviving the couple individual stalks that are left. The rest of the sorghum right there is doing just fine, as you guys have seen. A little disappointing on this, but at the same time, you know, you learn from the mistakes and you learn from experience what works and what doesn't. And definitely sorghum in the spring through summer is the right cover crop. You guys know we had lost our chickens last week, and we did tighten this up, and we're making sure that you can't pull or push. I know a couple of you guys were concerned that dogs were going to come and pull that open. While I don't think they would have been able to either way, I wanted to make sure that it was snug both directions. So we did that last weekend, but I wanted to make sure that the actual connection, so the space between the plate and the gate, was very, very small, so you can kind of rock it, but I just pulled on it with all my weight and couldn't open it, and definitely can't push it. So we're gonna make sure the other door has the exact same thing going on, and then same thing goes for the two gates leading into the pasture area. Want to make sure that nothing can get into there either by pushing or pulling. You guys are gonna spend some time with Lori this morning while Nate and I work on getting some fencing done, but I wanted to give you guys a quick update on the sunflowers you'll see behind me here. They're looking a little worse for the wear because of the heat, but they are starting to put on some seeds, which is really good to see. Lori was doing some research, and staking these may not be a bad idea, but we've got a couple of them where there's just multiple flowers, and I want to show you something else. So I'm not sure whether or not you can pick it up on camera. I mean, the sun's not quite up yet, so there's bees here, but this right here is what I really wanted you to see. So this is actually a vine, basically, from the cowpeas. And we're noticing that on a few of these. We have the cowpeas that are basically sending up kind of runners that are going up onto the stalks of the sunflowers, which is really cool because, of course, you know that the cowpeas are pumping nitrogen into the soil that's feeding these sunflowers to continue to produce. So that's really cool to see. But then, yeah, the multiple flowers, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's 10 or 11 flowers on this one stalk. That was pretty cool to see as well. Lori's actually going to be working on the sorghum this morning, so we have we've got a tool that we bought for it, and I'm not completely sure it's going to work. But we were considering using the weed eater, which may end up being what she's going to have to use because she'll probably be the one doing a lot of this. But we got something else, and we'll have to see which one's going to work. Still bright and early, I wanted to give you guys a couple quick updates. This is actually the Nectaplum. It's actually got new growth coming on it here, and we decided to go ahead and remove the cage on this because the trunk is nice and tall. I think it's big enough now to withstand any bunny onslaughts, but we want to make sure that it's not able to girdle the tree. So we have that plastic tubing that we got for this. But what I want to show you, the Katy apricot. This is our Katy apricot here, and we're going to definitely get the cage removed on this one because it is definitely tall enough to get that exact same wrap on there. But what I wanted to show you is this right here. This is all brand new growth that basically is just coming out this week. And remember, we've had temps 112 to 115 degrees out here this week, and this tree's pushing new growth right in the middle of that. Tree looks really, really good. And while we're here, you need to take a peek at the apricot plum hybrids as well. This is what I had to buy this week. Just in case it works on Sudangrass. Then if it doesn't, I've got a cool little new DeWalt toy to play with at some point in time. So I'm gonna sneak in here, see whether or not it'll work on some of this short stuff. I know it'll work on the big stuff. Let's get in there and see whether or not this is gonna work. So I think this is definitely going to work. Just got to kind of watch your step. So we could obviously take a lot of this material and we could distribute it around the farm to create some green mulch. But I'm going to actually go ahead and do that right here because we plan on eventually using this whole area here for in-ground crops of some sort. But you can see a lot of green mulch here that's going to mulch the ground nice and heavy right here in this sorghum patch.
So the trimmer did work really good on the grass over here. I see a few that it didn't get, so we could always go back and trim those, but I was gonna get some water on it since we hadn't watered it this morning. The back, that's another story. It doesn't do well for your back, so a little sore on that. But then I also figured since we have the weed eater out, since we didn't know if the trimmer was gonna work or if we needed the weed eater, our pasture is winter grass. So right now it is completely dormant, but we do have a lot of alfalfa that's still green over there, but it's getting a little tall, and when I go over there I don't like to walk through it because I don't know if there's snakes in there. So
had something get into the beds last night. If you look, Lori will pan down that way, you'll see they dug pretty well. We think they basically just pulled the netting off here. We're able to slip in here. Also pulled a few of these pipes off. You can see dug a pretty good hole right there in a couple different spots. Now there wasn't much in this bed. We had some carrots that we were gonna just basically let sit for the winter or for the summer, but they tore apart on these pretty good. Big old hole there. More importantly on that side, I had a video yesterday where we were talking about that sweet potato and there are no leaves left on it, so they ate all the leaves, dug a couple holes, dug up a couple of the small sweet potatoes. The irrigation ran last night and the irrigation was okay, so they didn't tear up the irrigation at all, but tore a hole through here, back on this side as well. So I don't know if this was a jackrabbit or if it was a javelina. We do have javelina in the area, so I'm thinking that it could be that, but we definitely need to go back to the drawing board as far as making sure that we have more protection down here low. And I know one of the things Lori and I had talked about when it came to these beds is that this may not be high enough to keep it away from some of the critters. And so what I think we probably will do, and we had discussed, is come back with some hardware cloth, maybe 1 foot tall or so, and install it here so we've got it running all the way across, because clearly having the ability to get up into here and just basically punch right through this netting, this wasn't strong enough to stop whatever came in. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think this could be. My thought is javelina or a jackrabbit because of the amount of destruction, but I suppose it could be a coyote as well. I mean, that's very possible getting into these corners, but it fit through about that, it looks like. So I don't know, I'm leaning more towards a jackrabbit. Well, I guess we'll have to kind of see whose vote wins out. Obviously, everything out here is trying to eat the things that we're trying to plant, and you know what? It's one of those situations where we've got to figure it out. You know, I mean, we've got not much going on in these beds, thankfully, but that's going to change, obviously, as we move forward. And obviously, we need to get some more reinforcements on this bed to keep whatever ground critter that got into here from getting in again. We just wrapped up 2 videos for Healthy Farm Living. That is the aftermath that we're about to munch on. Actually, I guess we can do it now. That is so good. Mm-hmm. Like surprisingly good.
Yeah, it's good.
I wasn't expecting this one to be good. I wasn't. I don't know why.
I like this one.
This one's really good. But one of the things we're finally getting back to is our Healthy Farm Living channel. We just got done filming a couple of episodes, actually. If you guys have not subscribed to that, definitely do that. But definitely do that. Obviously, it's where we put together all the foods that we make on this channel, the Edge of Nowhere Farm channel. But we wanted to wrap up today with kind of a little tease to get you guys to head over there and watch us make stuff. What's awesome is Lori's on there, and
so bad.
She freaks out so bad. What's funny is you're fine right now, talking to everybody on the Edge of Nowhere Farm channel.
I didn't say I was fine.
Oh.
Okay.
Now it's awkward. Anyways, we just wanted to wrap up with you guys today. So you guys know how much we appreciate the time that you guys spend with us. Time is valuable, very valuable. In fact, the most valuable thing that we have here on the planet is time, and you guys choose to spend that with us. We do not take that for granted. We really appreciate you being here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. This is one of our vlogs. We do a weekly vlog, so this is a little bit different from some of our other videos, but glad that you're here with us today. And share the content. If you know anybody that would be into this kind of thing, definitely share the content with them. It helps to get the word out, and it helps us out here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere,
so can you.
So can you. Mine. Hey, you get your butt in there. No. No. Nice try. You little chicken, turkey. What are the bees doing in here?
No idea.